Okay, Five Nights at Freddy movie fans. This morning we got leaked the soundtrack for the film. Now, I didn't talk about this on the main channel because I feel the soundtrack basically plays out beat for beat what the movie is going to end up being like. And while I don't think it's 100% spoilerish, it's at least 60 to 40% spoilerish. Gives you an idea of how the movie will play out, and that's enough to ruin it for some people. So if you'd rather just not know anything since the movie releases this week, maybe click off. But if you want to speculate along with me and try to put the pieces together of this movie, let's continue on here. All right, so the soundtrack got leaked, and we're going to go beat for beat here on what's going to be playing. So the first thing is Aunt Jane. Everybody is familiar with Aunt Jane in the Five Nights at Freddy's video game. If right now you call yourself a FNAF fan and you don't know who Aunt Jane is, give me your FNAF card, man, because she never existed in the games. Gotcha, good. It looks like she's going to be a character created just for the movies. I have here pulled up a wiki. That's how fast Five Nights at Freddy's movie fans are. You give us a name, it's there. I bet Steve Raglan is someone that already has his own wiki page. If you know that, that's a deep cut. But Aunt Jane here. So it says here is the rogue aunt of Mike Schmidt and Abby Schmidt. So Josh Hutcherson's character and Abby here. It's funny how they're saying here she's meant to be having a villain role. And she's like right out the gate, the first thing we're going to be hearing from the soundtrack of the movie, Aunt Jane. I'm thinking she's most likely going to be the person that's taking care of Mike and Abby after their parents die or they're made orphans. But once Mike becomes old enough to, care for his sister Abby and take her in, they leave that life and whatnot. So I think they're exaggerating with the villainous role. She just might be an aunt who is like, y'all aren't my kids. I have to deal with you because legally I'm the closest thing to a guardian. So here we are. Fuzzy on the details. So looks like there is going to be a song here where there's some memory issues going on, and we do have dream sequences counting down. Don't get ahead of me. You better not be reading ahead of me. Here we are gearing up. Okay, I'm assuming that's probably going to be the first security guard that we have in the Five Nights at Freddy's movie. Probably a scene of him getting ready, all geared up, trying to fight this animatronic, and we see what happens in the trailers. That first security guard, gone. Cleanup. I'm going to speculate it's either Mike Schmidt at his job, but he's a security guard in that job, isn't he? FNAF movie security. Let's see here if that pulls up here. I think he's a security guard at the mall, right? And that's why he's beating up that. Yeah, he's a security guard at the mall. At first, I thought maybe he's a janitor at that mall, but no, he's a security guard. It could be a play on that situation, cleaning up. Now, moving on to Chica's mischief. I feel that has to be the scene where those people are coming in to break in to the Freddy Fazbear place. You guys know what I'm talking about here. Let's see if I can pull that up here. FNAF movie. Let's just see if anything of that will pull up. You know what I'm talking about in the trailers where they're showing those people break in. This scene right here where they're breaking in. So maybe the soundtrack is actually pointing towards on the gear up part. This actually might be them gearing up. They have their weapons. They got a bat. They got all this stuff to go break into the place. So that might have been them gearing up. And then when we get to the part of the soundtrack where it's Chica's mischief, that has to be this scene right here from the trailer, which all the little things I've been seeing about this little cupcake attack look fun from the trailers. It just like jump scares you like a typical FNAF game jump scare, and then starts mangling on his face. Recently, the director was describing how because it's PG-13, they had to work around some of the kills. They couldn't show the gore and the guts, but sound design was important. If they get the sound right of this cupcake munching on someone's face, that could be a really fun scene. So that's what I'm thinking Chica's mischief is. Then we get to Vanessa. Vanessa's going to have her own theme. I'm assuming that's when she first comes into the restaurant, meets Mike. You've seen it in the trailer. She's like, have you met them yet? Do you know the history about this restaurant? Let me tell you. That's probably that scene there. Delinquent notice. Okay, maybe not then. I'm getting my stuff mixed up. Delinquent notice, that has to be then when Mike gets the, maybe I should just pull up the trailer off to the side here. Here in the trailer where he gets the delinquent notice that he's like late on the payment of his house, that's got to be that scene there. So maybe this soundtrack isn't in order, but I have to assume it kind of is. I guess it would make sense. But I guess we're going to meet Vanessa ahead of time before Mike meets her. I thought the first time we maybe meet Vanessa is when Mike is already working there. So we'll get some behind the scenes of Vanessa. I got to assume she shows up as a police officer to the mess that happened with those people who broke in if their bodies get found. You know what I mean? Mike's dream sequence. Now, this is interesting because I'm just going to skip ahead a little bit. Mike has 3 dream sequences throughout the movie, and they're all sprinkled out. So right away, we have one Mike dream sequence early on in the movie. Then in the middle of the film, we're going to get a second dream sequence. And then by the end of the movie, we get the third dream sequence of Mike. So looks like there's going to be some mystery unfolding with Mike. That's the only reason I can assume why they do the dream sequences there. And we've already gotten glimpses of that here. FNAF movie, I'm just going to type in kids. That'll probably pop up. FNAF movie kids. This scene right here, this has to be part of that dream sequence. So now we know it's going to be a flashback / dream sequence to the kids who went missing that represent the animatronics and them haunting them. They got to be doing the thing where they reveal in that third dream sequence that William Afton is his papa. William Afton has got to be revealed as his daddy, right? What other, crazy reveal would be to split up the dream sequences like that? I'm surprised there isn't like a William Afton theme or something like that, but there's something close to that here. So we have Foxy fatality. That's gotta be fun. So that's obviously a Foxy kill. That could be the security guard kill that we were thinking about. Maybe after those people break in initially, that's when William Afton is like, all right, I need security guards in here. And so that's when he hires that first security guard, and then Foxy will be the one to take him down. Foxy fatality. Now, the rabbit lives. I gotta think every time they say rabbit in this soundtrack, they're talking about Spring Bonnie. Come on now. I mean, that's what Spring Bonnie is. He's a rabbit, right? That's his animal costume. He's a rabbit. So every time the soundtrack mentions rabbit, you gotta think William Afton, Spring Bonnie. So the rabbit lives. Wonder what that means. The rabbits, there was an attempt to kill the rabbit or something. That's kind of cool. Early on in the movie, we'll figure that out. But that's got to be related. Then follow the yellow rabbit. Oh, that's creepy. That's creepy. That's got to be a theme where William Afton is luring in some children or doing the first bit of, slicing and dicing. Follow the rabbit. And then the yellow rabbit. Okay, so Spring Bonnie is going to be having multiple themes, multiple sounds in here. I think you could pretty much find them online. I know if I start playing them here, YouTube will demonetize this or even copy strike down the video. That's why I'm not going to play the themes. And also, since I'm spoiling these details for myself, I at least want to wait to hear these themes in the movie. But the Yellow Rabbit, okay, cool. Bonnie's going to have a lot of music in here, and also lets me know a lot of screen time. I was so afraid Spring Bonnie would be saved to the last 5 minutes of this movie. Looks like we're going to get some early on Spring Bonnie content. Away in. Okay. Doing well. Family history. Ding, 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 ding. Are they going to be pulling in that William Afton connection? Now, like I said, we know what happens in the games and it's heavily implied, but it doesn't mean it's going to 100% happen in the movie. We know in the movie they're going to change stuff up, and as they should. That way you can surprise fans here and there. So, family history. That's got to be. So maybe early on we figure it out. Abby's in danger. Scary. We do not want Abby in danger. Mike's dream sequence 2. We reveal some more details. Fuzzy friends. I feel like that's then when the other animatronics come into play a little bit more. Maybe when Vanessa is then detailing some things about them, where he's telling Mike, is like, have you met them yet? And they come to life. They're animatronics. Da da da. My grandfather's clock. Now that one has me stumped. What does that mean? My grandfather's clock. You guys are going to have to guess on that one for me because I got nothing. Who took Garrett? Now, this has got to be something interesting because I think that's still going to come into play. There's a dark history. Remember, the early on synopsis of Mike, Josh Hutcherson's character in here, is he has a dark past, something that he wants to forget about. Garrett, I think, has to be his little brother, whether Garrett is supposed to represent the crying child from the early games, whether he's the one who gets, the bite, or he just accidentally dies, or is one of the early victims of William Afton, or whatever Mike Schmidt did in the past to lose his brother. There's got to be some guilt there. So who took Garrett lets me know somebody kidnapped him. Somebody kidnapped Garrett, and we've seen something like that. I believe there's a shot of Garrett in a car being taken away. Let's see if I can pull that out. Yeah, right here. That's exactly the scene I'm talking about. That's Garrett right there. That's got to be Garrett. It's taken away, but who knows? He could be dead, could be alive. We'll find out. We'll find out. Five Nights at Freddy's. That's got to be the iconic theme. That's going to be the theme that's going to be bumping right there. So I'm thinking that's when all hell starts to break loose. And Mike is running around going crazy and whatnot, being chased by them. Vanessa's past, that intrigued me. that made me go, oh, so Vanessa is also gonna have an important part to play. I gotta think Vanessa was maybe friends with one of the kids that was taken away years ago when the restaurant initially closed down, and maybe that's why she's so obsessed with, like, keeping an eye on Freddy's, knowing the history about it, trying to uncover the mystery. Vanessa maybe had like some sort of friend connection with the kids who missing. Again, that's just me making stuff up. I don't know for sure, but I feel like, hey, she's her past is gonna be important to the movie. We'll find out. Mike's third dream sequence, that's got to be where they reveal the connection and who Papa William Afton is to him. And then Now I Kill You. That's for sure got to be all Spring Bonnie stuff. The scenes where we see if I can pull that up. The scenes where we're going to see Matthew Lillard in this Spring Bonnie suit chasing after them, walking like this. It has to be that part of the movie when he says, "Now I kill you." He's busted out his knife, taking all this, or it could be the opposite. We're wondering if this movie's going to end with the spring trap, the Spring Bonnie spring locking suit. Could this actually be the animatronics now getting their revenge on William Afton for what they did to him? And he's like, "Now we kill you," or "Now I kill you." I don't know. I don't know. We'll see. But that is the soundtrack here. I don't think it completely ruins anything, but it lets you speculate. It lets you wonder, and it lets you know some things that might be happening in the movie. I'm just glad to see the yellow rabbit stuff early on in the movie, because I was so afraid Spring Bonnie would be towards the end. And all the trailers of William Afton have just shown him behind a desk. I'm like, there better be a lot of Matthew Lillard in here. So I'm happy with this. I can't wait to see it go down. But I toss it off to you guys. What do you make of this soundtrack?